Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. So, Chai with my Bhai is back, and Alhamdulillah, this time season 3 is going to be available on the podcast app, both on Android and Apple devices. So, if you're on either of those, then click the link below, inshallah. Subscribe to the podcast. I promise you, you're not going to want to miss it. And now it's accessible for you wherever you are. If you're on the train, you can listen to it with your headphones in, or you've got AirPods, Beats, whatever headphones you have, inshallah. You can listen to it wherever you are, whenever you want, inshallah. And if you're watching on YouTube, as always, just remember you can watch the video. And all the previous episodes from the last 2 seasons are available on YouTube. If you go to the playlist on Nasiha Session, the YouTube channel, if you go to the playlist, it's called Chai with my Bhai. You can find all the previous episodes there. And inshallah, from now on, all the future episodes on the podcast app. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another episode of Chai with my Bhai. Sorry, that was the second time I had to do that because of some issues that happened the first time I did it. Anyway, today's panel is the same old panel.
Sorry, did they do a mic check?
Yeah, we done.
Well, I don't know if Strides did, but I did. Did you do it?
Yeah, I said yo.
Okay. So yeah, alhamdulillah, today's episode, inshallah, we've got the same panel except Guled's missing. He's going to be missing for the next few episodes, to say the least. And hopefully, inshallah, he'll be back soon. In the meantime, guys, you want to give salam, inshallah?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So today's topic, inshallah, is going to be on the issue of Kashmir, what's happening in Kashmir, the Islamic matters pertaining to that come off of it, that branch out of it. But before we get into that, there's one thing that I quickly want to mention, which was in one of our the first episode that we did when we came back, which is on the issue of people who have advertisements on their YouTube videos. Because one thing I realized is obviously some people might turn around and say, but guys, on the CS sessions, there are a very few select amount of videos that if you click on them, an advert will pop up. And obviously we don't control whatever that is. And just to clarify that and explain that, is that if you use a Quran recitation or something along those lines that someone else has copyrighted and they've put ads on it from their side, then ads will appear on any video that you do that has that in there. And it's a long story, basically, because we tried to fight the copyright claim because it was a different surah, it was a different reciter, like completely different. But somehow this guy, no matter which surah, which reciter you do, this guy ends up, same guy, he's uploaded loads of clips. And this guy ends up, it just becomes monetized. It's a long story, but the point is that there might be a couple, but even those ones, we don't get a single penny for those. That money that is generated goes to that guy, basically. Just wanted to clarify that, just in case anyone thought you guys are saying one thing but doing something else. So, today's topic, Kashmir. What's actually happening in Kashmir and why? And I think the best person to do this, because it's the only person that seems to have done any research on this topic, would be Imran. Unless you guys have done research on it. Oh, Strides is doing research on it right now as we speak.
Reading up
And
on it
I'm
now.
sad. Up
Up
until a couple of hours ago you hadn't,
I've
but...
got input.
Okay, alhamdulillah. But Imran, if you want to kick us off, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. There's this salam, right?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so just want to mention something before we actually start, yeah? So, again, I'm not saying this to have a go at you guys in any way, shape, or form, but it's just to kind of show how the issue of Kashmir is like very much neglected, yeah? It's like, I was speaking to Strides earlier and he was like, Kashmir, yeah, that's in Afghanistan, right? And Saad himself, Pakistani, I'm saying, might not necessarily, the full details of it?
I know the history of Kashmir.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay, but Strides is like...
Since 1947.
Okay. Oh, okay, my bad. The point is, Strides is like, oh, that's it, Afghanistan, right? So I'm saying like...
But he's not Pakistani yet, so you can kind of forgive him for
it's
it.
not about being Pakistani. It's not.
I mean, because it's hot.
Me saying to you, a country.
No, I'm not getting
somewhere
on
you
you.
don't
I'm not getting on you.
No, I'm
but
saying
I'm saying like for
Kind of
example,
all.
but no, it's not him. I'm saying majority of Muslims
Okay.
who are watching this
Yeah.
are gonna be like, Kashmir, like, what's that? What's Kashmir? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So I'm saying like, because we know about Syria, we know about Yemen, we know about Palestine, we know about Iraq, we know about Afghanistan, we know where everything's every
Before we proceed, can I ask you a question? Yeah. How come your moustache is so long?
yeah, basically.
Normally you cut
yeah,
it.
it's actually, I'm happy you brought
You
this
know
up
what's
here.
funny? My dad said the same thing to me yesterday.
Basically,
But yours is gone.
No, about him.
okay,
All about him.
Basically, right now we are in the. Obviously, when this video is out, it's going to be a couple of weeks from now. But right now we're in the day after Eid. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the the first day from the days of Tashriq. And obviously, you know, you give the udhiyah, you give the sacrifice. And obviously you can't
You done
cut
Qurbani
your
and that, yeah?
nails, cut your hair,
Yeah.
cut your moustache until. So obviously the country in which I gave the donation for the sacrifice, till now I just checked it now because I wanted to trim it before this bloody show. It
They
still says
still-
in progress. So I'm still waiting for that cow to get deaded. Once that cow gets murked, then I can trim my moustache, cut my nails.
That's mad because I would have assumed, or I think a lot of people would have assumed, that you only that once you paid on the day of Eid and the day of Eid is started, you can trim it now.
It's after this animal's been.
You have to wait for the actual sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, you reading about Kashmir?
Yeah, man. Blackout, yeah?
Yeah, we'll come to it. We'll come to it.
All right,
I was
so
gonna say,
let's get
actually,
let's get into it.
It's quite important connected to the fact that a lot of people might not actually know about what's actually taking place
Yeah.
due to the blackout. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, no, but I mean the world's talking about. I'm just saying just generally.
It
Like,
is, yeah.
I'm saying now we're hearing about Kashmir, but they've been our women have been getting raped there. When I say our women, I'm saying Muslim women.
It's
Have been-
because 95% of the population of Kashmir are Muslims.
Yeah, and they've been getting raped.
Hmm.
That's Kashmir in its entirety.
In its
But
entirety.
in terms of like Indian occupied Kashmir, it's about 65%.
But the
But
entirety of
entirety
it
of
with
Kashmir, yeah.
Azad
Because remember,
Kashmir.
Kashmir is
the
divided
Pakistani
into three. There's 35% of Kashmir is occupied by Pakistan. That's Azad Kashmir. So you know when you hear about Mirpuris, you know people from Mirpur, which I think most people know, they're from Azad Kashmir. That's the part which Pakistan happened to take control of. Then there's 45% of Kashmir, and that part is occupied by India. And
the
then
rest
there's a
is
little bit
China.
that's China,
China,
yeah.
yeah.
China occupies that part. So within the part, obviously the part that we're talking about
Is the Indian?
is the Indian occupied part, that 45%. And 65%, the overall majority of those people, they're Muslim. I think about 30% of them are Hindu, and then the rest are like, you know, Buddhist, atheist, other, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying those people have been suffering for 70 years. I'm saying this conflict's been going on for 70 years. And people just don't know about it. And you know what I'm saying? And the reason I'm bringing this to light is because I just want people to like, I think it's important for us to not be artificial in our concern for the ummah.
Of
Like,
course,
I
yeah.
believe people only get concerned. Like for example, up until recently in Syria, there was you know, you didn't enough none of the conflict made it to news. But recently there was some bombing and there were some problems that happened recently, right? But before that, for about a year, like Syria wasn't on mainstream news, so everyone forgot. But that's not to
Yeah,
say that
true.
people aren't still dying there. It's not to say people aren't still struggling there. Does that make sense? Like Afghanistan, people are still struggling. Iraq, people are still struggling. In Somalia, people are still like, okay, the famine took place, and because of it, you know, people.
Don't
are
you
dying
think
en masse.
that's not specific to only like problems around the world? Like even in people's own lives.
Yeah.
In a more, if you look at on a more of like a micro scale, someone
Yeah.
might die in their family for a few days. It's, you know, but eventually life comes into play. People forget. People move on, and then it's only when something happens again or something that people, you know, it's just kind of natural. Like, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that don't you feel like that's just sort of
It's true, but then my question would be, and this is something that, and I might be wrong here,
Mm.
and I'm open to be corrected, but
Yeah.
or maybe this is just because I'm talking to myself here and I'm just fighting my own, you know, devils and demons inside of my own self. But
you're possessed.
no, I mean like
Enough.
Okay.
figurative
That
demons.
was
I said demons inside me,
Yeah.
devils inside me.
You understand what I
Enough.
mean? It's a figure of speech. Basically, what it is that, you know, like sometimes you see something, and I always think to myself, like, are you giving charity because of the fact that you're feeling emotional, because you feel guilty, or is it for Allah's sake that you're giving? Because-
Guilty in what sense?
I don't know. You know, some people just it's just convenience, isn't it? Like, why is it that like right now, you know, someone's struggling in the world,
Uh-huh.
but you will only give that money and donate towards them when what? If I show you a video of a woman half her arms cut off, her kids dying, you're saying no one's feeling it, and then you
Yeah.
give it. It's like it's almost kind of like a selfish relief on a very subtle kind of level where it's like, oh my god, I'm feeling like bad, you know? Do you understand? And it's the kind of like cure that guilt because you feel guilt. But I'm saying right now as we speak, like the people are dying right now.
You know, people use
I don't
that
have
as,
to
like,
show you. I don't have to.
propaganda as well.
Huh?
Yeah, it's true. People use that as like propaganda.
They
as
do.
well.
They do.
Like,
In what
they,
sense?
They make use of it to kind of feed their own agenda of like raising money and stuff like that, innit? Because they know the people
in the
when
guilt
they-
card,
when they see that guilt card, they see, you know, okay, you know, people are not just gonna give money, but let's put a woman who's like her face has been like, sorry for the
But is there anything wrong with that
Yeah.
from the angle of, like, for example, even in your video
I'm not
they
saying
did
there's
in
anything-
Rohingya?
I'm not saying
It's
there's
But
anything
someone
wrong.
got shot.
I'm not saying.
You know, isn't it
I'm
more
not saying-
powerful and it's better? Like, you raise more money that way, right?
Look. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it within itself.
Okay.
Even though, like Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan and whatnot, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he mentioned that, we shouldn't be doing that. It kills and it weakens the morale of the Muslims to make them see each other like so weak, and it leads people towards doing things like suicide bombing and joining like extremist groups when they see that kind of stuff that's taking place. So he actually mentioned that that's not good to do. But just generally, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with like being emotional and whatnot, but I just feel like people are very, very I'll give you an example.
Go on.
So someone must have dropped a comment on my Instagram post the other day saying Akhi, talk about Kashmir.
Okay.
And one person dropped a comment saying, "Shut up, you idiot! Syria's struggling. Syria's this, that, and the other." Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like Syria's got enough problems. So it's true.
As in, they like belittle
Huh?
other than the
Why?
mainstream ones.
Other than
They
the
get
mainstream, do you get
belittled.
me? And that's not. And I know for a fact that there's someone who just took offense to what I just said there. Like, there's someone who just took offense to what I just said there, and that's not me belittling Syria.
I'll
no.
be honest with you, I think pretty much every single sentence that you say, someone probably gets offended
Yeah.
because people are just
I mean,
triggered.
that's them. But the issue, the point of the matter is that it's just we need to have a concern for. It's like, for example, the Uyghur Muslims in China. Can I tell you something? That I didn't go out of my way and necessarily make a mass video about this whole issue. But akhi, I've
They've
been
been
talking to
neglected,
people about the Uyghur Muslims in China since almost 10 years ago. Like if you go through some of my videos, you'll probably see me use them as an example back in the day. And this has been happening to them for decades. But it only came to light. Why? Because those few videos went viral, and now those videos they've stopped going viral. Who made dua for the Uyghur Muslims recently? Who made dua for them? Like, we have to ask ourselves, do you understand? But anyway, I'm digressing. The point I want to make is that the Ummah is,
People hold on to events, people hold
Yeah.
on to things, and then things kind of
do you
disappear.
understand? So it's
Do you remember that there's that guy in Africa, Coney?
Coney.
There's a big thing about him find
2012.
Coney. There's that red
Yeah,
poster
yeah.
and find Coney, and like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everyone
Like,
forgot about Coney.
he might still be doing his thing, kidnapping children and making them child soldiers. That still happens all over Africa,
Still
but
happens. Like,
people just forgetting it. It's just. But again, going back to my point earlier, I
Yeah.
thought that's
like
just
Mali. Remember what happened? Like, who talks about Mali?
who's Mali? Oh, the country Mali.
Yeah, the country. Man. He
He
thought I meant. Yeah.
No, like
Yeah,
Bob
yeah,
Marley
name
or
of
something.
person, yeah.
That's the
No,
name.
the country Mali, like it's what I'm saying. Anyway, that's the first point I want. The second disclaimer I just want to mention before I go into Kashmir is because, look, now obviously, I'm Pakistani. Do you
Uh-huh.
understand? So I don't ever talk about Pakistan, and I don't ever talk about it in any positive light or any negative light. I just don't talk about Pakistan because I'm always.
You mean on
worried-
camera? Off camera, you
on
talk
camera.
about Pakistan a lot.
Say that again.
In a positive light. In
Yeah,
a
but
positive light.
obviously I'm saying
When
that's
it comes
why.
to cricket and whatnot.
No.
Yes. Yes.
exposed.
No, like obviously I appreciate the skill of the team, but like I didn't watch
Skin, color.
the skill.
Oh,
I
skill.
appreciate the
Skin.
skill of the
Subhanallah.
team,
too
but
well in the World Cup.
I don't support no teams. I don't.
You don't support no teams. It's
Well,
double negative.
I don't.
You
I
do
don't-
support
I
some
don't.
teams.
I don't support teams. I don't believe nationalism.
Okay.
Anyway, the point I'm making is that I haven't gone into like anything Pakistan related online or in my da'wah.
Uh-huh.
The reason for it is because I never wanted to be labelled as a nationalist, and I hope that people won't do that to me now. Like I've not raised money for back home. Except for like maybe some small issues here and there, like the fundraisers I have done online is for Syria. The fundraisers we have done online is for Rohingya
Somalia.
Muslims, huh?
Somalia.
For Somalia, for Yemen. Do you understand? Like I've done every one, but my country. Does that make sense? So I don't want anyone to feel like anything I'm coming here is from some nationalistic perspective because
Okay, look, just because you've brought this up,
yeah,
and
think
I
that's
know
a bit
I don't want to
extreme.
digress too much, but just
Yeah.
to understand this point, because some people at home might be wondering, like, what do you mean you're not allowed to be nationalist? Like, am I allowed to be proud of the fact that I'm Pakistani without superimposing that everyone else is lower than me because I'm Pakistani? I don't believe I'm above everyone
the
else,
fact that you say
but I'm just happy that I'm proud to be,
when you're
or
proud,
I'm proud of my country, basically.
that's what I'm saying. When you're proud,
Mm.
what's pride? Pride, and now the Pakistanis are going to turn against me now because Pakistanis have got a big problem with pride and nationalism. But pride means that you believe that there's something good in it, inherently, as in, something
as in-
good in just that race, something good in that flag that makes it above others, and that's wrong. Pride is what's wrong is for anyone to believe that they are in any
What
way,
if you're
shape,
proud
form.
that it's a Muslim country? You're from a Muslim
But
country.
then there are other Muslim countries. It should be
I
equal.
know, but you're not from that one. You're from this one.
But that's what I'm saying. So what makes this Muslim country now better than another Muslim country?
No, not that it's better, but that I'm from it.
No, you can say Alhamdulillah from the ni'mah of Allah Azza wa Jal is that He made me from a country that's got Islam.
Or what if just that country
but
itself?
the concept of pride, what's pride? Because you use the term pride. Pride means
proud.
proud is an element of superiority. Now this is what's wrong, and this is what's nationalism. Well, it's not necessarily what nationalism, but this is what's wrong. Is to in any way, shape, or form to believe that there is something inherently good that makes you good or better, based on your tribe, your lineage, your flag, your country, your land. The only exception is Ahl Bayt, the Prophet's lineage. That lineage in within itself is blessed. Other than that, no one tribe, or you could feel a sort of sense of haughtiness about, look at me. This is Jahiliyyah.
Not
by the way.
I'm talking about, like, for example, like someone.
Then
Let me
you-
pose a question to think it. So if I say, "Are you proud to be Pakistani?"
Yeah.
What would you say?
Why would I be proud to be Pakistani? Pride means that I have some inherent, like, what pride? The Prophet said anyone that acts with pride is
So if
gonna
someone
go to
now comes to
hellfire.
you, but
You
you're
won't make it to
Pakistani.
paradise, huh?
But if someone comes to
But
to you,
then-
but you're Pakistani.
Okay, one sec.
Yeah.
Oh, go on. So let me ask you. So let's say, for example, you had a child and they, got the first in their exams or whatever. Would you be proud of them?
I don't. We're not allowed to be proud, bro.
So you wouldn't be proud, but
I can be pleased with my child.
So are you pleased that you're Pakistani?
But that's what I'm saying. Why would you see? I'll be honest, and this I believe this problem is very, very deep.
I think the issue is more connected to the
definitions.
English language.
Yeah.
No.
And
Let me ask a question. When you say please, what do you mean?
Like, are you happy at the fact that
I
You
feel
know
like
what?
it's the issue of
It's-
definitions,
it's-
isn't it?
it's-
No,
it's-
what's
the
I want
translation
to get.
of
You know that ayah
We're
in the
getting to an
Quran,
interesting point.
You
Go
know
on.
the ayah in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that He created us and put us into
Yeah.
different tribes and
Yeah.
nations so that we may get to know each other, one another, right?
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile between that?
Yeah, get to
and-
know each other. Like
That
understanding
doesn't-
different cultures.
yeah,
Oh,
that-
you're different. I'm different. Look at me. Oh my god.
Yeah, so
you
look, I'm
Bengalis, they eat
Bengali,
fish. Allah
you're
marry. What
Pakistani.
do we? What's our national dish?
Curry.
Anything? No, they have curry too. But what's that?
Any
So
curry.
what do we
Anything that
put
gives you a heart
that?
attack.
What do we put that label under then?
Say that again.
What do we put that
Jalebi.
label under generally? Like, what would we say then? Because
No, let me ask
for
you.
me to say,
I
oh yeah,
want to bring it
my
back to the
country,
pleased.
we make
I want
this, that,
to bring it back to the pleased issue. Yeah, I'm saying for me to be pleased.
You know what the issue is? I think the issue is the word proud isn't used necessarily in. It's not a direct translation for kibr. You're talking about kibr, right? The Prophet said anyone has an attitude of kibr, but is all types of pride and being proud necessarily kibr? Because if you're proud that your son achieved something, or you're proud, proud can be just that you're happy.
No. Let's go about what the word proud means. Proud in our English language, it refers to arrogance, bro. It refers to a sense of haughtiness.
You know what? Let's use Sheikh Google. 1 second. Yeah.
It's like in Arabic, there's the word.
Pride definition. This is a pack of lions. A feeling or deep pleasure, raw. A feeling or deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. For example, the faces of the children's parents glowed with pride. That's one. The second one, confidence and self-respect as expressed by members of a group, typically one that has been socially marginalized on the basis of their shared identity, culture, and experience. The bridge was, for example, lit up in rainbow colors, symbolic of LGBT pride. I think that's a different pride. Okay, sorry.
Cut that out.
I was reading the nouns. The verb is to be especially proud of a particular quality or skill. He prided himself on his honesty.
Okay, good. Okay, now hold on to that. You see, the problem here is now to pride yourself on your lineage. That's wrong. To pride yourself on your flag. That's wrong.
So let me ask you. So is it specifically to do with lineage? So, but you can't be proud in other elements.
It's not just necessarily lineage, but it's any like.
Are you not connected to your culture through your lineage, your ethnicity through your lineage?
No, I'm talking, for example, he said, look, being proud of your lineage is a problem. Okay, cool. I'm saying, is it specific to lineage and culture? Like, basically, is it specific to nationalism that you can't be proud of nationalism? Or, for example, the example I gave earlier, are you allowed to be proud of your child
I think
who achieved something?
what's
Or if you
nationalism?
achieve something.
anything that's going to create division amongst the
What's
Muslims.
nationalism?
So
But-
nationalism.
okay, so would-
nationalism
No, but
is-
wait,
So
wait,
would it
wait,
cause-
let's take the word from the Arabic.
it's to have that sense
Okay,
of
but by that
it's
principle,
to have that sense of feeling.
why would me being
towards
proud
your
of my
nation.
child getting an A in maths?
That doesn't divide the Muslims.
Exactly.
But I'm saying-
But earlier you said that's wrong. You can't be proud.
No, because I understand proud to be arrogance. As in, my child's better than all of your children.
We're
So
using
And
words.
pride in it
so
within
that's the
itself is
problem.
wrong.
Then is that
But I'm saying even
English language
But,
isn't.
right now the way you define proud or the definition you put up is kind of like being pleased, right?
There were 3 different ones. Though. That's the problem. Is that
Okay.
one of them wasn't. One of them
Okay,
was just
okay,
being
let's-
pleased.
Listen,
One of them was
I'll
to
be
be
honest.
proud.
I don't rate the English language enough to fight for it, but just the concept of being pleased, like that's what I was trying to pick him out. And when he said, when he asked me a question, he said, "Are you not pleased to be from Pakistan?" So I was gonna say, like, for me to be pleased, like that means I'm,
Happy.
huh?
Happy.
But I'm saying, why would I? That means I'm happy that I'm this and not that. Do you understand my
Okay,
point?
but isn't there a reason that Allah made you Pakistani?
Say that again.
Is there not a reason?
Yeah,
that
there's a
Allah...
wisdom behind it, because cultures are different. And maybe Allah Azza wa Jal, He wanted me to, have this.
So then,
particular
what would you say?
culture.
Alhamdulillah, I'm Pakistani.
Say that again.
Would you say?
You said alhamdulillah about everything. You can
I
Pakistani?
say Alhamdulillah, Allah made me Muslim. That I'm saying, do you understand the concept of that Pakistan? It shouldn't come to your mind like that. This is Jahiliyyah. That's my point. Is that the fact that you come to your mind and you say,
But it
no,
is a
but it's
part
a
of
way
your
that
identity,
it's
though,
a
right?
way
It
that
is a
you
part of your identity. You
identify
can't run away
yourself.
from that.
I'm not. No one's running away. That's my identity. It is my identity.
So what's wrong with that coming to your mind?
It's not that. It's the concept of Alhamdulillah, I'm this and I'm not them. Do you understand?
That even I agree.
but
That's
but
wrong.
that's what it leads
And
to.
to be
That's
honest,
wrong.
he's right. He's
That's-
right.
that's
He's
what it
right.
leads
but-
to.
To be
but
honest,
you
he's
saying
right. I'll
Alhamdulillah,
be honest with you.
Pakistani
Any
doesn't-
Pakistani,
doesn't now think
any
it-
Pakistani who's proud to be Pakistani is because they're happy that they're not, for example, Indian or like no, because Pakistani got
Okay,
beef
but I
in
don't
it.
think you can generalize that to every other.
No, I'll be
race
honest
now,
with
though.
you. Most, if you're Pakistani and
No,
you're
I'm
watching
saying
this,
that's Pakistani. Maybe that's Pakistani, but I'm saying you can't generalize that. and say-
No, I'll
so
be
for
honest.
obviously
example-
there are
I'll be-
exceptions,
I'll
I'm
be-
not saying-
Alhamdulillah,
I'll be honest. I
I'm-
can because I speak to Bengalis.
Don't get
and
triggered.
They're like like they like. It's funny because every race looks down at another. I remember having a conversation.
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I genuinely believe
between-
every single race looks down on at least one other race.
I'll tell you
100%.
something so funny. Yeah, like there was a conversation that was taking place between 2 of my friends. Yeah, one Somali and one Pakistani. Yeah, and the Pakistani and the Somali were talking, and then the Somali brother must have mentioned. The Pakistani guy must have asked. He must have said like, do Somalis see themselves on the top of the food chain, as in like you are like the superior race? I'm not speaking on behalf of all Somalis. I'm just telling you what this particular conversation was, and then what I learned from it. He was saying like, yeah, as in like Somalis, they think that they are the best culture. They've got the best, like they are the best people. And the brother was like, amazing, subhanAllah, Pakistanis think the same. And it's true, me as a Paki, I could genuinely say that the majority of Pakis, they actually believe, they think, yeah, we are the best. Look at us, our army, what we did, we went through India, we're Mujahideen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Cricket.
Yeah, like, I know. And are you going to disagree with me?
Nah, I agree.
And then the following question was interesting. The brother, he asked a question, yeah? He said to Somali brother, he said, who do you see as like the lowest? And he was like, as Somalis, we see the Asians to be the lowest.
They call us, what's it called? Soft hair. What's it called?
Huh?
Timocele.
Timocele? Huh?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like
That's good.
So-
Timocele, innit?
Yes. So, and then the sad thing, which is very disgusting thing, is that Pakistanis, they would see people, which is very bad. The ones who are racist and who've got this disease in them, they would look at people from Africa as low. Does that make sense? So it was just this like really, like it was.
Not just Africa, like anyone who's like dark skinned.
Yeah.
So like even if it's
even amongst
like
their own
Jamaica
people.
or like like
even
Caribbean.
amongst their own people. Even
that's
amongst
a
their
big
own people.
problem.
Yeah, of
Massive
course,
problem.
of course.
Massive problem.
Of course.
Sure,
without-
And a lot of them don't realise, but you're right. You know what? We need to move on.
But the point that I'm
Yeah.
making is that everyone, and this to answer his question, is that like you find everyone has this concept of where I'm better, you're not. Does that make sense?
And some uncles, they're just so blatant about it.
Huh?
They would talk
But is
about something
that-
happened
is
during the
that-
day, and then
no,
the
but this is
language
the
they
point
use
of
is
it.
nasty.
Is that the asl?
Huh?
Is that the asl?
Yes, it's a big problem with marriage
the
as well.
Prophet
man.
said that this issue would
Sallallahu
stay,
alayhi wa sallam.
this disease would stay in this ummah until the day of judgment.
Okay, brothers, listen. We're here to talk about Kashmir. So let's go back to
No, but it's
Kashmir.
part of
Even British
inshallah.
values. Even
I
British
agree,
values.
but
What's
saying
this whole concept
we've
of
been-
my values are better than yours, my culture's better
Of
than
course,
yours?
but I'm saying for you to say Alhamdulillah.
How long have we been
I'm
recording
for? You know what I
Pakistani or
think would be really good?
Alhamdulillah, I'm
We just moved on.
Bengali, Is that
These two always end
now-
up just going
I've got a solution. And I think the solution is
do a separate episode on this
anybody-
topic.
either we could do another episode on this issue.
If you want us to do another
Or
episode, comment below and we'll
if
do one
you
inshallah.
guys want to do some extra reading on the issue of nationalism, I would direct you to a kitab by Sheikh Abdul Salam ibn Barjis, rahimahullah ta'ala.
Yeah.
We has 40 hadith on racism and nationalism in Islam.
Is it in English?
No.
That's
We
like
make dua to Allah
98%.
that somebody explains it for
Of
us.
our audience.
Said Ma'awi Attacker is working on an
He's working
explanation.
on it.
Oh,
sorry.
really?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
working on it.
Hafidh
By
Allah.
the way, I just want to mention he's sick. He was sick from the last episode to now, so that's why he sounds a bit weird.
I think me, you, and
I
right now.
I think that's
You're not
quite
sick, right?
cool, you know.
Salam Mubarak.
Long back.
Anyway,
Salam
coming back to
Mubarak
the
as
issue
well,
of Kashmir,
Allah
the point that I was making was that I don't want anyone to label me as that nationalist because I'm not.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
You're not a
cool.
nationalist.
I don't even roll around with Pakistanis. Like I'm in Somali Masajid. As in, I'm talking about like on
Shall we
a.
make a little disclaimer at the beginning? Please don't label down.
All right, anyway, brothers, moving on, inshallah. So, going back to the original question, which I asked you about 20 minutes ago, we still haven't answered. What is happening in Kashmir? So, let's talk about it from the angle of. There's a lot. Should we go through the history first? In fact, I don't even need to go through the history of
I
Kashmir.
think you can go for it very quickly.
Yeah,
Basically,
just quick
what
little points, main things that took
happened
place.
was that obviously
When
Britain-
Pakistan used to be part of India.
no, basically Britain. There was no Pakistan. There was India only.
Colonized by
Yeah, it was colonized by the UK.
UK.
It was called the British Raj. In 1947, they decided to give India independence, and what happened was that at that time, there was a split between Pakistan and India as well. Yeah.
The Muslims and the Muslims were in their own country.
Yeah. So there were places within India where there were Muslim majority, and that was Bangladesh and Pakistan at that time, called East Pakistan and West Pakistan. Yeah. So then, so it was only Pakistan basically, and then later on, Bangladesh got their own independence. So the point was that happened because there were Muslim majority regions.
What was the name of the guy beginning with a B? Bartholomew, not Bartholomew. The guy who was in charge of the lines and stuff
I'm
like
not
that.
sure.
It's famous, man.
I'm not sure.
Bolton,
Anyway, it was
Batten.
Batten. I think
Is
I've
it
heard.
Mount Batten or something like that? Not
I've-
Mount Batten, but like or something Batten. I'm sure something like that.
I don't know.
My dad was telling me about it. Yeah, I'm sure it's Batten.
But basically, they drew the lines. The area which kind of got caught up in a conflict was Kashmir. Yeah.
I heard that originally Kashmir was supposed to be fully Pakistan.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pakistan is going to claim rights to it. And the reason why Pakistan claim rights to Kashmir is because they say the majority of the people are Muslim. The whole reason why you gave us this region was why? Because the whole reason why Pakistan became Pakistan is because they were majority Muslim. The reason why Bangladesh, which is then became Bangladesh, was because they were majority Muslim. So Kashmir is majority Muslim. Overwhelming majority Muslim, right? So it's ours. But then now here's the issue, that Kashmir has got lots of natural resources. Okay? So this is the argument that India wants to hold on, because why would India want to hold on to Kashmir? As in, it's hardly any Hindus there.
Like, what benefit do they have?
Yeah, I'm saying from the 45% that India holds on to, only 30% of them are Hindus. So that's like less than 20% of the whole of Kashmir. Does that make sense? So what benefit is there? They say there's resources.
Okay.
And for that reason, they don't want to let it go. Now, obviously, at that time, Kashmir had its own ruler. I think his name was Maharaja Singh or Maharaja something.
At what time?
This was at 1947 time.
Okay.
It had its own ruler.
Okay.
Now, that ruler in 1947, 48, 49, something like that, he signed a agreement to India saying, I've given Kashmir to yourselves. I've given it to you.
All of it.
All of it.
yeah.
Now, Pakistan never recognized this. They said, this is batil, bro. We don't recognize this.
How can you give something that we have?
Kind of thing. Do you understand? Like, we have rights to this.
We
So-
have control of it.
Yeah, so we don't recognize that. Do you understand? Now, since
How the hell did where did China get? Like even I only found
I'm not
out
gonna
recently
lie.
that
Yeah,
China's
even
part
me,
of
I'm not
it.
gonna lie, I only found out
Yeah.
recently.
I was so
I
confused.
had
I
no
always
clue,
thought it was just Pakistan, India.
Yeah.
Since
We
when
see
did
ahead about
China
it.
have?
I have no idea. Obviously, I
Kashmir.
think there's resources. It might not even be a populated area.
Is it
of
not to
Kashmir.
do with the article?
I have no
Article 507 or something, right? Which is that's something
that's-
else. You're talking about.
Article
idea.
four.
That's the Indian thing.
That's the
We're gonna come to
That's-
that.
yeah.
Revoked, yeah.
Yeah, that basically said that Kashmir can be independent. It's can run
It
by its
can have
own
its,
laws.
it can have its autonomy.
No one's allowed
Yeah.
to move in and settle in.
No one's allowed to buy land, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, since then there's been wars. 1965 war, 19
Between Pakistan and India.
Pakistan, India. They became nuclear power since then. 1999. I actually remember I was actually in year 5 when it happened. I remember I came home. My dad was like, "Yo, they're squaring off at the border. There might be nuclear war." That's when the last time it got really, really thing. And then there's been skirmishes since
Back
then.
and forth.
So since then till now, the part where India has occupied, there's always been unrest there, political unrest there. And you know, when that unrest happens, the way that the Indian government deals with it, and the unrest is basically, you know, those people who are in Kashmir, they're not even saying I want to be part of Pakistan. You know what they're saying?
Say what,
Leave us
independence.
alone.
Leave us to be our own
They say
thing.
let us be our own. It's big. I think Kashmir is bigger than England. They're saying let us be our own country, bro. Like we just leave us alone.
I was saying, if the same way, for example, Pakistan
Yeah,
has got a strong hold on part of it and didn't recognize that, okay, cool, why are you giving it away?
yeah.
India also then, if they've been given this part of it, they've got the right then, right, to do as they.
I don't care
See
about the
fit.
political side of it, but what I will say is that they're majority Muslim, and the whole reason why the divide happened and why
Uh-huh.
independence was given, and Bangladesh is their own country and Pakistan is their own country, is because they're majority Muslim. I'm saying Kashmir doesn't have to be part of Pakistan, and I'll be honest with you, most of us are not going to cry a tear if it doesn't make it as part of Pakistan. We're just saying our Muslim brothers, they are being oppressed.
Okay.
The way that they deal with it is literally they take people. Wallah, there's videos, you can watch them online. The Indian soldiers, they rape the Muslim women. They rape the Muslim women.
Inna lillahi
I feel
wa
like
inna
it's
ilaihi
happy, and there's a lot of perversion about around these with these Indian nationalists. Like they even one of the government
Yeah,
officials.
what did he say recently?
Yeah, one of the government
I heard.
officials. You know what he put out? Because the women from that region of Kashmir, it's called Jammu Kashmir, are
Yeah.
known to be like
Very
beautiful,
fair.
Allah and Barik. They're known to be, you know, like that. So they said, yeah, now we're gonna finally, you know, be able to, you know, marry ourselves some beautiful women. And he started describing the Kashmiri women. You understand? Kafir, talking about our polytheist, mushrik, talking about our sisters like
and
that.
he's part of the government.
He's part of the government.
Yeah.
It's on the news.
It's on the news.
It's on the news. So
Whoa.
the point of the matter is that, akhi, wallahi, there's videos, akhi, and then maybe we should put something. I don't know if it's a good idea to put them in, but akhi, they're just beating people on the streets. Like the way they just open fire on people, akhi. They just take people into the forest, kill them. This is en masse. It's the most militarized zone in the entire world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Think about it.
And just think last week India put another 1,000,
10,000.
10,000 troops.
Do you know how many soldiers are in Kashmir? 500,000.
Half a million, right? They say between
Bro, there was just a-
100,000 to 700,000. Like statistically, between 100,000 to 700,000.
I mean,
And-
right now there's 500,000.
Yeah.
As in 2019, there's 500,000. A few years ago, there was 700,000. Actually, there was, for every one Muslim Kashmiri, there's 10 Indian soldiers. For every one Muslim Kashmiri, there's 10 Indian soldiers. Now, obviously, this year, you know,
So basically, look, recently that article, the Indian leader decided to revoke it,
to revoke it.
meaning that now, from what I've heard and what I've understood from
May Allah
discussions
deal
with
him
my
the way that he
family,
deserves to be dealt with.
I mean, so the same way that, for example, when it came to Palestine, you know, the Israelis came and started setting up camp and they
Same
basically
thing.
took over.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing now where basically Hindus are being brought in to move in to Kashmir so that eventually they overpopulate or not overpopulate, outnumber the Muslims in that region and it
Yeah.
becomes a majority Hindu
Hindu place.
region. But do you know which one thing I just want to mention, right? Because the leader's name is Modi, right? And I remember that when this voting thing, you know, this issue of voting was going around and, you know, there were people that were saying that, you know, we should, you know, people should vote and it's essential and this and that. And one of the examples they were giving was of Modi, that, you know, it was the elections and that, you know, he's
When they were trying to justify saying vote for a kafir,
saying that
because he might
voting
help
is
the
permissible
Muslims.
because he can help the
UK.
Muslims. In the UK and even abroad, people were asking shuyukh, saying that we've got this situation where, you know, we've got people like, you know, that he's going to help the Muslims. He's pro Islam. He's pro the Muslims.
He's lenient with the Muslims.
He's lenient with the Muslims. He's
Supports
going to
Muslims.
help them. He's and then, you know, like obviously people, if they ask a scholar, if you paint a certain picture for a scholar, obviously the scholar's going to answer according to that picture, right?
Exactly.
So they basically said to me, yeah, so, you know, like they were saying, yeah, to vote for him and, you know, this and that. And I look, like, it's just, I just don't understand. I've never, ever seen a situation where people have said, yeah, vote for my man. My man's come in and he's done anything different. You got Obama, you got, you know, even with BJ, man, they're saying that his granddad was a,
Stop and say BJ. Is that what they call him?
yeah, Boris Johnson.
That's his nickname.
Yeah, they,
I'm not gonna lie. Him
They,
coming into power was
his granddad
weird,
apparently was
so-
Turkish Muslim.
when he came into power, it was so weird because I was out of the country and I
Huh?
came.
No,
Oh.
wallah, I'll be honest. I
I was
can't remember. I was
confused.
chilling with
I'm
the
like,
brothers the
how
other
did
day.
this
Listen, did anyone even notice that he came into power?
No, wallah,
Like,
I
I
was
didn't even know.
with the brothers then. I was
All I
like,
remember this
I was
guy.
like, who runs the country? I must have been at a masjid doing a talk. I was like, who is the, do we have, is Theresa May still president? They were like, no, Boris Johnson took over. I was like, what?
Didn't he
Yeah.
lie about his bank
Yeah.
being stolen or something?
About his bike.
Yeah, like twice. He lied about his bike being stolen.
No, I don't know, but he's made like a few remarks about like the niqab and stuff like that.
letterbox.
Stuff like that,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah, letterbox.
isn't it? Do you think it's just ridiculous? Like the type of people that come into power these days.
Yeah, wallah, man, it's a joke. And then you got organizations like MEND, man.
But I
So
swear
they
Ibn
call him
Qayyim.
the-
I swear Ibn
Yeah,
Qayyim.
yeah,
rahimahullah,
They call him the Donald Trump of UKs, huh?
Yo, please
something like that, yeah.
Please that, yeah.
I didn't hear it.
But it's a
Well,
saying of
that-
Ibn Qayyim, right? Who said that the rulers will be like the people that are the underneath.
Yeah, that's the ayah in the Quran.
كما
Allah
تكونوا
said,
يولى
كذلك
عليكم.
نولي.
كما تكونوا يولى عليكم.
Yeah. You are as your leaders are. Allah said in the Quran, كذلك نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا بما كانوا يكسبون. Like that we place the rulers over them that are oppressive because of what they used to do. They were oppressive themselves. So anyway, the point is that, you know, as you said, you know, what they done is that the way to kind of appease the people in Kashmir was they said, we'll give you autonomy, you make your own laws, you have your own politicians, you have your own rules, you do your thing. We're just going to watch over you with our military, we're going to control. We're going to own you, but you lot can live how you want. So one of the things that the Kashmiris had was
Freedom.
that,
To an extent.
well, it wasn't really freedom, as in you got 10, each one guy's got 10 soldiers watching over him, but as in they had some degree of autonomy, as in they could make up their own decisions and whatnot. So one of the things was that no one can buy their land.
Uh-huh.
No one can come and have settlements there. Exactly the same that you said what happened with Gaza, Palestine, is that they came and what do? They just usurped the land of the Muslims and they placed the illegal settlements there. So now what they've done is that they've eradicated this treaty or this article. They've taken they said that we're gonna now basically buy their land, we're gonna take their land, even though they're not allowed to. It will be an illegal settlement. And the idea, as you said, is to bring Hindu nationalists into there and allow them to populate in that region. And that's how they're gonna terminate the conflict. And that's how they're gonna basically, as in, think about it. And that's how you know the issues with Islam, by the way, yeah. That the issue that India has here, or that the Indian nationalists, rather, I should say, have here, is Islam, because they don't care. Like, as in, what's their solution? Is to bring more Hindus into the region. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
As in, when the Muslims are saying, because it's a Muslim majority place, like let us have ownership here. For them, they're just gonna drive the Muslims out by buying, and in that process, they're gonna rape our women. They're gonna take our women. Like exactly what's happening.
It's like intimidation. So either they're hoping that the Muslims will just run away themselves, go to Pakistan or go to another
They
country.
want them to go to Pakistan. They want to let them.
But
Oh, they won't let
but
him
you
run
know what
away.
I don't
No, they won't let
understand,
him.
yeah?
Mad.
Shall I tell you what I don't understand? For them to do
And
that,
sorry, and they can't run into India, into other like Muslim regions. They're stuck. They just can even.
They cut off all the internet, cut off
Oh yeah.
television, like electricity,
Yeah.
like, you know, just so people can't really
Know what's going on there.
communicate. There's a
And I
media
used to have people from
blackout.
Kashmir. They used to shout me, by the way, on Instagram. There's people from Kashmir
Even
Knowledge College.
even on one of our recent videos on
They-
YouTube, someone commented,
Yeah.
"I'm from Kashmir." You know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Please make the app for us."
Bro,
we
there's people
really-
in Knowledge College from Kashmir because obviously they can't afford it, so we give them free membership.
Oh yeah.
Anytime anyone from Kashmir calls me, sends a DM, I'm from Kashmir, or I said, no problem, bro. It's free access for you, bro. So, wallah,
Yeah.
akhi,
you
man.
know what I was gonna say? You know, I don't understand, yeah, why they would do that, like India do that, because now they're just gonna make, basically create a war with Pakistan.
No, they won't, because that's the issue. Like, obviously, like, here's the issue. You have to understand something, innit? Like, I really don't see Pakistan going to war with India over this issue. Because if you look at Pakistan, over the years, their kind of want and passion for Kashmir kind of died out, man. It kind of died out. If you look at it.
No, but I reckon that, for example, like if, for example, look, because obviously I agree with you that Pakistan wouldn't start anything or, you know, try and intervene or anything. But what I can see happening is, say, for example, some of the people in that region, they decide to fight back. Some of the Muslims say, you know what, no, you know, like, and they then do something,
Yeah.
like they attack the Indian army or, you know, like shoot or whatever. And then I can imagine the Indian army or the government, whatever, blaming Pakistan for that,
That's
saying
what
that
I'm
they
saying.
did that,
That's the
and that
issue.
they're now gonna, because that happened recently.
Yeah.
That was
So-
not recently, but it happened.
That-
There was a bombing.
Okay, look, obviously, I'm Pakistani and Indians are going to say you've just been sucked into Pakistani propaganda and whatever. I can't speak from the Indian side because I don't
Yeah.
consume Indian media.
Yeah, or even I go to my uncle's house. All we get is the
Yeah.
Pakistani side.
But to be fair, and after, you know, in these situations, even like CNN is kind of like, you know, is is kind of tilting towards what Pakistan is saying. You know, sometimes I just look, even you can't trust the kafir because they have their own ulterior motives, but you know, kind of what the Pakistanis are saying and what the CNN and the BBC, it kind of seem to correlate. Do you understand? And I don't really see too much discrepancy there. Basically, the story is this, is that whenever the skirmishes have kicked off recently, it hasn't because of been of Kashmir in and within itself. It's like you said, that basically a suicide bomb will take place in India, or will happen in Kashmir, and it will kill Indian soldiers. India will say, Pakistan done this terrorist attack. Pakistan say, bro,
Got nothing to do.
we've got nothing to do with it. And to be fair, they got a point in that in Pakistan, there's suicide bombs that are happening in Pakistan. It's the group called TTP. It's called TTP, right? That the extreme Taliban. Yeah, the ones that, remember they done that attack in Liberty Market in Lahore and inside the Marriott Hotel and
Many years ago.
huh?
Many years ago.
I remember the Marriott Hotel, but I didn't realize it was the
Yeah,
TTP.
they have suicide attacks within Pakistan. I remember we were there. Were you there?
I wasn't there.
I was there 2.5 years ago, and it happened while we were there. And it was like, oh my
People might get
days.
the wrong idea.
Huh?
People might get the wrong idea. Like,
Obviously, I wasn't involved.
that's what I'm saying. You gotta be
I
careful.
wasn't involved. The point is that these things are happening. Does that make sense? Pakistanis will tell you, oh, the Indians done it themselves to look
Yeah.
for an excuse to attack Pakistan.
Yeah.
Wherever the weather, the point is that this is the series of events. Something happens in India. India doesn't wait for any resolutions or any democratic kind of whatever. They just start firing at Pakistan. Pakistanis think, are you mad? Let's go.
Shoot down the
And
plane.
it's not really cause we're here to defend Kashmir, which would be beautiful. Like I said, I don't know about politics and I don't care about politics. I'm just telling you a series of events. But for them, what's happening is, right, you lot actually had the nerve. We're coming at you now, and that's what happened. Is that plane that they shot down was actually dropping bombs in Pakistan. It was like, what you lot did, and they just sprayed down the plane and took the and you know what I'm saying? It's not really because of Kashmir, basically. So it's sad because I don't see anyone coming to defend Kashmir, and I actually just see the people that are going to be.
So let me ask you guys a
violated
question, right? How many Muslim countries are there out there in the world?
there. 57.
Right, man knows the number to the
Yeah,
to the
where
T.
did we? I heard it's recently as well. 57.
How do you know it's 57?
57.
Oh, was it actually 50? Okay, anyway, it's
I
irrelevant.
heard it recently as well.
The point that I'm making is there's a lot of Muslim countries out there. Why the hell don't they do anything? Not just for Kashmir, but for Palestine, for Syria. Like all these things are happening. Why isn't Saudi Arabia doing anything? Why isn't the UAE doing anything? Why isn't Pakistan doing anything? Why aren't all these Muslim countries helping?
I think you know what, yeah, we like.
It's a big complaint. The Muslim
You know what,
Ummah
this-
is asking,
this-
why are these guys not helping?
This topic kind of came up when in my degree still, in terms of
What did you do your degree in?
education.
Okay.
So we have like a sociology part, and there's a lot of politics and stuff in that. And that's probably what it is. You know, a lot of the countries now are so heavily involved in politics that they just don't want to beef any other country because of things like external factors like money, loss of,
Isn't that
friendship
wrong?
and all of
Isn't
that.
that wrong?
Of course, 100%. That shak is wrong, because the thing is they've lost the whole aspect of, the unity with the Muslims. And
So why aren't you guys going out there calling out these countries and these leaders for not doing enough?
Okay, so you have to understand something there. Is that there's a few dynamics to this discussion.
Okay.
Yeah. Firstly, there's the root cause, and then there's potential solutions.
Okay.
So let's understand the core. Before we talk about even the cause, let's agree on the problem.
Okay.
So the problem is that the Muslim Ummah is suffering.
Agreed.
Is that agreed? I don't think there's a person from any Muslim group, whether he be, a Daesh supporter, ISIS supporter, Al Qaeda supporter, Taliban, or whether he be HT, or whether he be Ikhwani,
What's
whether
HT?
Hizb ut-Tahrir, or whether he be Salafi, or whether he be Shi'i, or whether he be Barelvi, or I don't think there's anyone who would differ on this. That our problem is that we're suffering and we're a humiliated people. We're people who've been oppressed. We're people who have been oppressed and humiliated. I think everyone agree upon that point.
Uh-huh.
The Muslims are oppressed. Like the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said,
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
that the nations will call upon you as if you will be a plate of food, and they will all be coming to take over you. And the Sahaba says because you'll be small in number, rather the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said you'll be massive in number. By the way, again, it shows you that the majority, having big numbers, doesn't really benefit you much, because even being so big in number, 1.7 billion nation of Muslims, we're still so oppressed. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So I think everyone would agree. Now here's where we differ on. Because when you talk about why is it that Saudi Arabia is not helping, and why is it that, let's not take Turkey out of this. Why is it that Turkey's not helping? Because really and truly,
Yeah, Turkey's a Muslim country.
I mean, if Turkey's giving charity and aid, and then so is other countries giving charity and aid, but the kind of help that we're talking about is why is why is there no military action that's being taken place, right? So then I'm saying that's a secondary discussion. We'll come to that. First, let's understand what is the cause of this problem. What's the cause of this oppression? And this is the point at which we differ. Which is that Allah Azza wa Jal said, and the Prophet ﷺ said, in so many different places. It is a reoccurring theme again and again through the Kitab and the Sunnah. And it's so clear that when you suffer as a nation, when you get humiliated as a nation, it is because of your sins. So Allah said, again, let's go through the evidences.
Wait, so are you saying that the people that are suffering in Palestine and Syria, that it's their own fault that they're being oppressed?
Maybe not individuals, as in the Ummah as a whole. Remember,
so that even people outside of that particular region.
I'll give an example, yeah? I'll give an example. The Battle of Uhud took place.
Uh-huh.
Do you wanna? The Battle of Uhud took place.
Uh-huh.
There was 50 companions on top of the hill where the Prophet ﷺ said, do not get off this hill.
Okay.
From within the 50, there was a small fraction of them that decided to disobey the Prophet ﷺ. When they came off the hill, that weakened the army from that perspective, and the Muslims lost. And Allah said, Anna laki hada. This happened because of you. So all of the Muslims lost that battle. Mus'ab ibn Umayr radiyallahu anhu, he died. He became shaheed in that battle. Hamza radiyallahu anhu became shaheed in that battle. Akhi, the Wahshi ripped his heart out. He ripped his heart out.
Uh-huh.
What did he do? He didn't disobey the Prophet ﷺ. But from that we learn that our sins have ripple effect.
But don't you think it's a bit negative or toxic to in a time where they're being oppressed and raped and killed, and rather than thinking of how can we help them, what's the solution?
Yeah.
To point fingers and say, you know what, it's kind of your own guys' fault.
It's not toxic at all. In fact, it's very empowering. You know why?
Why?
Because it means that the solution is here. If the problem is me, that means I can fix it. Right now, the Muslims believe that the problem is what?
Other people.
It's Bush. Or was Bush.
George Bush.
Yeah, it's Trump, Theresa May, it's Israel. For me, it's not them. When they lost the Battle of Uhud, Allah didn't say it was the Quraysh. Allah said this is you. In the Battle of Hunayn, when they started to lose, Allah said it was you. This is so empowering. Because Allah teaches the Muslims, listen, when they went wrong, it's because you made a mistake. Fix it. And then I'll give you victory straight away. And that's what happened. The Muslims fixed it. And Ahzab, they had victory straight away. Hunayn, they started to lose when they fixed it. Allah Azza wa Jalla gave them victory right after.
So these are examples and stories, but are there any non-deniable scripture-related evidences like that from the Quran or the Hadith?
Yeah, there's so many.
Where Allah clearly says, or the Prophet clearly says, because of sins.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ظَهَرَ الْفَسَادُ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ.
What does that mean?
Allah said that corruption spread in the land and the sea because of what your hands brought forth.
How do we know what the hands brought forth means in that ayah?
Allah, the context explains it.
Okay.
That corruption is taking place in the land. Okay, so your hands didn't bring good, did they? Allah's not unjust that He's going to bring you corruption, or Allah's going to.
As in, has anyone explained that ayah to mean?
There's other evidences that are clear. I'll give an example. Yeah, the hadith in Sunnah Tirmidhi by Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that people will start to engage in Eena. Eena is a type of riba, which a lot of people do. Is where you kind of try to make it seem like it's not a riba, but it's a riba. Yeah, it's a kind of illegal transaction, and you hold on to the tail of the cow, meaning you chase the dunya, right? And you leave off jihad fi sabilillah. Except what will happen?
And you're pleased with the agriculture.
And the Prophet said, Sallallahu alaykum dhillah. That Allah Azza wa Jalla, or kama qal, He will place humiliation over you. Okay.
So if you stop these four things,
you do these four major sins, if you do these four sins,
okay,
Allah will place humiliation over you. La yanzi'uhu. He will not remove it from you. Hatta tarju ila dinikum, until you come back to your religion. Again, sins.
Couldn't someone then turn around and say, "This is why we need this is why we need to start doing jihad"?
Say that again.
Couldn't someone use that and say, "Look, this is
No,
why we
they
need to start
can't,
doing
because
jihad"?
jihad fi sabilillah is an offensive jihad, not a defensive jihad. And an offensive jihad only happens is when you're not in a state where you have to defend yourself. Offensive jihad only takes place when you're in a state of security and safety and you think, let's proceed. Let's spread the word of Allah Azza wa Jal.
So is it just specific to those three sins? That
Say that again?
if
No,
those
it's-
three sins are done,
I'm saying that's just sins. Now, bid'ah and shirk is worse. Look at Allah said, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُم فِي الْأَرْضِ كَمَا اسْتَخْلَفَ الَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِهِمْ. Allah said, Allah made a promise to those who believe and do righteous actions that He will give them a khilafah on the earth. He will give them a khilafah on the earth. Like He did to those before you. He will make their religion established for them. He will change their state of fear to a state of safety. Okay? But Allah placed a condition. يَعْبُدُونَنِي لَا تُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا. Worship me alone and don't do any shirk. So Allah placed a condition. If you want khilafah and you want security and safety and you want Islam to be firm on the earth, Allah said, don't do shirk. Allah said, worship me. لا تشركوا بي شيئا. Do not associate any partner with me in any way, shape, form. Not no ta'weez, not no idol, not no grave, no nothing. Worship me alone. Now, we have something in the Sharia, in Usul al-Fiqh, which is mafhum al-mukhalafa, which is the opposite meaning. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you do tawheed, if you come with tawheed and you stay away from shirk, I will give you khilafah, I will give you what? I will give you strength, established on the earth, and I will give you safety. The opposite is also true. You do shirk and you don't come with tawheed. You come with shirk. I'll take your khilafah away from you. I'll take your security away from you and I'll put you in a state of fear and Islam will not be firm. And we saw this in Andalusia and Spain. If you look at Imam Abu Abbas al-Qurtubi rahimahullah ta'ala, who wrote an explanation of Sahih Muslim, his life is actually quite interesting because he lived and saw Spain being taken away from the Muslims. In one day, in overnight, the Muslims is mentioned were removed and exiled from Spain. From Cordoba, right? For one day, they were exiled and they were sent to North Africa. Morocco, what is now Morocco, Tunisia, Libya and whatnot, in one day. If you look inside, if a person went through that kind of trauma or that kind of experience, you'd see it be in his works, isn't it? But you find that he never spoke about it in his work, except for one place in his explanation of Sahih Muslim. He mentioned this happened when we started to deal in sins. He said, our land got taken from us. People were doing riba, alcohol, zina, sins. And then there's worse. People start doing worse on top of that. They start doing bid'ah. They start doing shirk, which is worse. Remember, if sins are going to result in corruption, the Prophet said, وَشَرُّ الْأُمُورِ مُحْدَثَاتُهَا. The most evil, the worst of things is the newly invented matters.
So what you're saying is, for example,
You don't need to talk, bro.
if I was to go out,
Huh?
so if I was
Sorry.
to go out right now and smoke a cigarette, for example,
Yeah.
which is a sin, that could potentially be a reason why right now a auntie in Kashmir is getting raped, or a little boy is being taken away from his family, or like you're saying that if I was to go out, maybe not, don't use me myself as an example, but if a Muslim goes out and does zina
Yeah.
or steals, or any sin, talks badly to their
Yeah.
parents, that it's not necessarily just going to have an effect in their own life, not necessarily just in their immediate family's
Yeah.
life, but as in it can be affecting people, Muslims around the world that they don't even know, they will
Yeah.
never see, they will never
Yeah.
come close to.
If you paint a picture for this, yeah,
That's a bit
if you
deep.
look, if
not
you look
gonna
at
lie.
it like this, yeah, all of this stuff, it adds up. So if you look at it, for example, who are the ones that are causing the oppression? The
The
governments,
non-Muslims.
the rulers, right? So the rulers came from the community, right? The community that we're in.
What do you mean?
They came out of one of our communities, right?
As in, like,
As
for
in-
example,
As in,
a leader.
a leader came
He
from a
came
community,
his people that
Yes.
is leading, right?
right? Okay, cool. So now the community is influenced by the people within it, right? Like
the community is the people within it, yeah.
Exactly. So now, if the people within the community individually are progressing in a pleasing way to Allah, okay, and obeying the laws and commandments that Allah has set within them, and they're doing that, then the community will come out what? Good. they'll come out solid, they'll come out, disciplined and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
So now, the leader or the one who's in authority within that community, if his community is in a state where individually they've all done what they're supposed to do, how can you expect for a negative person to come out from that community? Because
Absolutely.
we know that if there's such an influence in that community which is good, it's very rare that, or highly unlikely, impossible.
It's like
that-
it's statistics. If 90% of the community is good, you're going to choose one person out of them. You got a 90% chance of choosing a good person.
a good person. So now, this is it's like a domino effect. If you have yourself is good, you start influencing someone, and then that person will influence someone. It's like your family. For example, when we start practicing, we see that we have an influence on our
People around us in our family.
people
yeah.
around us, and they start changing. So if every person tries to work on themselves first and foremost, obeying Allah, and you know what, I've noticed something recently. A lot of us, we tend to belittle the fact that the solutions Allah gives to us and the solutions the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives to us is applicable in every single part of our lives. And when you start to belittle that, that's when you start to see the problems occurring, because you start to think, no, how can it be my fault? And you automatically, as human beings, we automatically try and push the blame onto something else
100%.
except
And get
for
defensive,
ourselves.
yeah.
But if you actually took into account that you're the one that's doing wrong, and you started working on yourself, and everyone did that, then you start seeing that a lot of these problems wouldn't. It's a practical solution. But when you start thinking that it's so far-fetched because your own mind can't comprehend it, that's when a problem starts developing.
It's like
And that's the issue.
if everyone's watching this right now, if you just think of one sin that you really, really struggle with, and you know it's wrong, and you would like to, whether it's your boyfriend, your girlfriend, if it's drugs, alcohol, wherever it might be, just imagine that the next time you do that sin, someone in Palestine or Syria or any country, Rohingya, wherever it might be, in China, whatever, Muslims could be getting raped, killed, murdered, oppressed because of that sin that you're doing.
And you might say to yourself, oh, but that one sin, is it really enough to result in a person's life being lost or a person being raped or whatnot? Maybe your one sin might not, but you're playing a part, because if each one of us threw a twig into a fire, and there's a lot of us, it's a small fire, but each one of us threw a twig, akhi, that small fire is going to burn down a whole city. Does that make sense?
But the first question, is that fair? Why is it fair that because of something that I'm doing wrong, I should be punished for it, right? Why are other people around the world being punished for it? How's that fair?
Akhi, Allah Azza wa Jal has many wisdoms, and just because we don't know that particular wisdom doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a wisdom. But even me, there are some wisdoms that I can see.
For example?
Like, for example, Allah actually mentioned in the Quran, He said, when corruption spreads in the land and the sea, and it happened because of your hands, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what did He say subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, so that you could be reminded. I let you take some of this punishment so that you could be reminded and stop doing what you're doing. Does that make sense? So for example, when I see calamity and chaos happening in a Muslim country, like, because remember the Prophet said we're one body. The Ummah is one body. So the same thing that allows me to feel pain for my Muslim brother who I never met, which is why I'll sell half my business just to give money towards Muslims, or the reason why our brothers will leave their careers and go work as doctors in Syria, and that same feeling there, it's because we're one body, right? So even when we sin, we're one body. Do you understand? We've always been one body. But can I just say something? Like, I don't want it to sound like we're just blaming the Muslims of UK and America and Canada and Australia for the calamities in the Muslim world. Let's not, and this is the part where it gets a bit sensitive and people get a bit upset and a bit offended, yeah? But I'm going to say it because really and truly is the truth. Don't think that there isn't corruption within those countries themselves. Like, Allah is not unjust that He's going to punish a whole nation just because of your sins.
Yeah.
As in, you Muslims in London are watching pornography, and because of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to destroy Kashmir. Like, that's painting Allah Azza wa Jalla in a very bad light. No, akhi, let's not act like there isn't.
Amen.
You can.
Yeah, let's not act like there isn't shirk in Kashmir. Let's not act
Innovation.
like
And
let's
even
not,
sins.
yeah, no, forget the sins, akhi. Shirk.
Oh.
Let's not act like graves aren't worshipped in Kashmir. They are. Let's not act like magic isn't widespread in Kashmir. Let's not act like shirk not taking place in Syria. Let's not act like in Masjid al-Aqsa, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birthday celebrated. The Burda, which is a poetry about the Prophet, is recited, and that poetry has shirk in it. Today. Do you understand? I have a friend who went into Palestine, the part that's occupied by Israel, and then the Palestinians live. And this was maybe about 8-9 years ago. And he showed me the picture. It was on his Facebook, and I tried to find it so I could actually put it online to show people. But he deleted it. But wallahi, and I think you might have seen it as well. Wallahi, akhi, you know what he took a picture of? In the part of Jerusalem, which is the Palestine area, Masjid al-Aqsa, not far from there's a wall, and they spray painted a picture of Kim Kardashian on the wall.
Who did?
The Palestinian people. Like, they're in Palestine with Israel over them, but they're still looking up to Kim Kardashian. Like, Syria had one of the highest pornography rates. And please, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm bashing Syrians and Palestinians, because we believe the Prophet ﷺ said that they are the best of us. And if there's no khair left in them, there's no khair left anywhere in the ummah. So we're not saying there's no khair in them. If they are struggling with their iman like this, we're worse. Don't think I'm oblivious to all the shirk that happens in Pakistan. It's filthy and disgusting. So I'm not here criticizing any particular. I'm just saying, though,
as a general rule, that
Yeah.
wherever sins and bid'ah and shirk is taking place,
yeah.
that there will be.
Can we,
I'm saying now our sins are adding to it. I'm not saying our sins here, as in my sin, Imran, my sin, is the cause of a person being raped or being killed, but my sin is contributing.
Also to your own life as well. A lot of things that you don't realize, that things go wrong in your own life.
Allah said it in the Quran, bro. You know, the people, they will say, you know, where's this calamity come from? Ma hadha. And Allah will say, min anfusikum. It came from yourself. And these are things that can catch up with you as well. Sins that you've done in the past. And this is the context of what Allah is saying.
If you don't repent.
Things that you've done in the past, obviously, if you haven't repent, can catch up to you, and you're going to think, where did this come from? And this is the issue as well. If you see, just what you mentioned is so important. How many sins do we commit and we don't even repent for it? And then when a calamity befalls, we're like, how did this happen? Where did it come from? And we really need to reiterate on this point, because look how many times over and over again you will see Syria, this happened. China, this happened. Yemen, this happened. You know, in Rohingya, this happened. And every single time, everyone keeps calling for, we need more vocal speech, we need more protests, we need more this, we need more online this and that. And nobody really wants to go back to the fact, because every time this happens, we always come out and we say the same thing. It's yourself. But I don't understand. Like, people take every single solution except to go back to the Quran and Sunnah. I don't understand. Like, your whole life, like, you know, this is what I mean. A lot of people, they pick and choose when to follow the religion, and this is a big problem. That you'll see people in certain aspects, they will take the religion wholeheartedly because it fits to how they want to live life. But you're not supposed to take the religion how you want. The religion is your way of life. This is how you're meant to live life. Not you live life and you take it how you want. And this is the issue. Like, when you actually don't realize you are playing a very, very
dangerous game.
Yeah, like, you keep coming back and saying, no, we need to, you know, do protests, and it annoys me so much, because the same people that say this, they will watch this and be like, you lot, you just keep banging on about this, that and the other. You lot don't really know the situation that's going on. You know, you lot are heartless. How can you sit there and do this? But wake up.
That's
honestly,
what the Quran
like,
says.
just wake up and
Like,
realize.
you know, if we just pause on this promotion issue, yeah, like,
Promotion promotion issue.
as in, like, if we just focus on it. Sorry, protesting issue.
Oh,
And if we just talk about it for a bit, yeah, like, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam clearly told us that when your rulers oppress you, ضرب ظهرك, or in ضرب ظهرك, if he slaps you, strikes you, lashes your back, وَأُخِذَ مَالَكَ أو كما قال, and he rinses you for your wealth, he robs your mouth with your wealth, yeah, فَاسْمَعْ وَأُطِعْ, hear him and obey him. The Prophet said, hear and obey. Another hadith, the Sahaba said, should we not go out and fight him? The Prophet said, no, you don't. You seek your rights from Allah. As for the ruler, you hear and obey him. Now people, they try to, and this is not a sin, this is a bid'ah now. Because when you oppose the sunnah, which is a religious thing, and you try to come with your own religious solutions, you've now done a bid'ah by opposing the sunnah. So this is one level higher because you're directly going against what the Prophet ﷺ here taught, right? It's you're trying to take a path in the religion saying we should be protesting, we should be going against our readers. Allah said get rid of oppression, we're getting rid of oppression. This is what? طريقة في الدين. Okay, this is a path that you've taken inside of the religion, and it's resembling the Sharia, and it's innovated. The Prophet ﷺ never told us, he never legislated this for us. You've done it yourself, and you do it. Yeah, this. I'm saying Kim Kardashian is better than bid'ah. Which is bad enough, but that's better than bid'ah. So I'm saying now these people, what they've done is they've gone against their rulers, and sadly, what happened? Syria only happened because they went against the ruler, even though he was a kafir, and you're allowed to go against the kafir ruler if you have ability. They never had ability, they went against him. The same thing happened, look, Tunisia.
When you say Kim Kardashian better than bid'ah, what do you mean? Because she's a kafir, right? So how can a kafir...
No, I'm talking about spray painting Kim Kardashian.
Okay.
Is wrong.
And it's a sin because you're
It's a
making
sin.
people look at bad
Yeah,
things.
but I'm saying what's worse is doing bid'ah.
Why? What's your evidence for that? How can you say that?
The Prophet said, وَشَرُّ الْأُمُورِ مُحْدَثَاتُهَا. He said, the most evil thing is the newly invented matters.
So the Prophet himself said
We
that.
hear it every Friday. وَأَصْدَقَ الْحَدِيثِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَخَيْرُ الْهَدِي هَدِي مُحَمَّدٍ صلى الله عليه وسلم وَشَرُّ الْأُمُورِ مُحْدَثَاتُهَا. And the most evil of things is the newly invented matters. وَكُلَّ مُحْدَثَةٍ بِدْعَةٍ. And every newly invented matter is a bid'ah. وَكُلَّ بِدْعَةٍ ضَلَالَةٍ. And every bid'ah is misguidance. وَكُلَّ ضَلَالَةٍ فِي النَّارِ. And every misguidance in the hellfire. We hear it every Friday.
So you know how powerful that is? You hear every Friday, and yet you're so ghafil about it. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
Not even that. You know what's even worse? Is that the same guy who says that bit, when he starts talking in English, he's saying the opposite.
Yeah,
he starts spouting bid'ah, you know, like...
In the way he's saying, protest. Stop talking about sunnah.
Well, okay, what's the issue with protesting?
So the issue with protesting, as in and of course protesting is of types, and here we're talking about the Muslim protesting against a Muslim ruler. What's wrong is that you're going against a Muslim ruler, okay?
And the Prophet said not to.
And the Prophet said not to.
Allah
Why did the Prophet say not to? It's because the Prophet ﷺ had this complete perfect guidance from Allah Azza wa Jal. When you go against your ruler, what's he gonna do?
Fight back.
If he's oppressive,
He's
if
gonna
he's an
retaliate.
oppressive ruler and you want to go against him because he's oppressive, what's he gonna do?
Press you more.
He's gonna oppress you more. He's got the army. You don't have the army. He's got the money.
But what about, for example, say for example...
He's gonna oppress you more. And wallahi, if you look at Yemen, same problem happened. If you look at Syria, same happened. If you look at Tunisia, same happened. Akhi, every Muslim country happened. And you know what the sad thing is? They want more. Now, wait, look, actually, we can all see things, sad and dangerous things that are happening in some Muslim countries. We can really, it's very, very worrying things that are taking place in some Muslim countries.
Like, what do you mean, like?
Like, there's some Muslim countries, and we don't need to mention it because we're told to not say things that are going to cause people to uprise against their rulers. But we can see in certain countries there are some very scary things that are taking place. But people now want the people within that country to act, to uprise. And what's going to happen, akhi? There's going to be bloodshed on the streets. There's going to be bloodshed on the streets. People want Mecca, Medina to become like Syria. People get raped in front of the Kaaba.
It's a bit strong, no?
No.
I don't think people want that.
No, wallahi they do. Shall I tell you why?
But I think, okay...
No, one second.
I think there's a difference.
Shall I tell you why?
I would say they don't want that, but that's a
They don't
byproduct
want
of
it,
what they want.
Yeah, that's a byproduct of what they want.
So, so I don't think it's correct to say people want women getting raped in front of the Kaaba.
No, but akhi, look, can I tell you something? Like, if a child...
People want the ruler of that country to be removed and someone else take his space. That means
I know,
stuff like that will happen.
If a guy keeps taking drugs and you tell him, bro, you're going to destroy your life. And then if he's not listening to you, you'll say, brother, do you want to destroy your life? Why do you want to destroy your life for?
No, but he might not necessarily want to destroy that, but he's just so addicted to that thing.
I know, but I think everyone understands what I'm trying to say.
But I just don't agree with that word. I disagree with that word.
Okay. But the point of the matter is that these people, okay, let me put it to you this way. they're not going to be satisfied until people are raped in front of the Kaaba.
Again, I disagree.
No, shall I tell you why?
No, I
Shall I tell you
disagree.
why? No, let me explain my statement.
Explain.
It's because when people are raped in front of the Kaaba, then they'll say, Wallah, it was wrong. That's when the penny will drop.
But they're not going to be
That's just
satisfied.
satisfaction.
Yes, they're going to reach satisfaction with regards to what the correct way to do it was.
No, I disagree with that.
I agree with that.
I disagree
I'm
with
not
that.
gonna lie, sounds proper weird.
Yeah, I disagree with it. I think I understand
I
what
know
you're saying,
trying to say,
Yeah.
but
and I
with
agree
the
it's a
words-
byproduct, but I don't agree with those people. No, even though I believe that they're wrong in what they believe and what they want, I don't believe they want people getting
Sometimes,
raped
I'll
at the
be honest with
Kaaba.
you, I believe that these people, Wallah, are paid by the government to destroy Muslims. I'll be honest. I actually sometimes I'm not.
Oh,
gonna-
no doubt, there
I
are
be- I
people
be- I
out
be-
there
I
who are
be-
like
I-
that,
I-
but
I be- honestly, the way I see some people, I'm like, you've seen country after country be destroyed because of protests. I was start to question: are you Zindiq?
okay, but let me ask you a question,
Are you
right?
Zindiq?
Let me ask you a question.
You
Let me ask
want
you a
this
question.
to happen.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah.
Salah.
Let me ask you guys a question. Yeah. So, okay, so
Because
you
the
said
general mass
the
are miskeen.
example.
One second. The general mass are miskeen. I'm talking about the heads of these people.
So you said, for example, in a Muslim country, protesting against a Muslim ruler. Yeah. So let's say, for example, let's just say the ruler of Pakistan or any country, any Muslim country, oppresses these people, and you say to them, "Cool, don't go against your leader."
Yeah.
What's to stop me in another country from, for example, going to the embassy of that country and protesting? I'm not going against my Muslim ruler because
Yeah.
I don't have a Muslim ruler.
you're
I've got.
But that's
BJ.
what I'm saying, but that's not the solution.
But why? It
Because
helps.
because Allah
No?
said كذلك نولي بعض الظالمين بعضا بما كانوا يكسبون. Allah said like that we praised oppressive leaders over them because what they used to do. They were oppressive people themselves, so Allah placed an oppressor over
When you're
them.
protesting,
So hear my
you're
point,
bringing
hear-
awareness.
Hear
No.
my point. At the time of Al-Hasan al-Basri, remember there was a leader called Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. This man, they say in his time, in those days, he killed 120,000 people. Even when he said, my janaza, he said, when you take my body to his grave, destroy all the houses on the way. This man was oppressive. He hung a Sahabi in the Kaaba. That's Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, yeah? And the people, they pulled out their swords and they were ready to fight him and go against him. And you know what Hassan al-Basri said? He said, Hajjaj is a punishment from Allah. And you will not push away Allah's punishment with your swords. So, these leaders are a punishment
These what?
from Allah.
leaders.
These leaders.
Okay.
What do you think I said?
It sounded said leaders.
No, these leaders
Okay.
are a punishment from Allah, and you will not push them away. You will not push away Allah's punishment by begging at the House of Commons or begging outside the Home Office for, BJ Boris Johnson with his mop head, kafir who probably doesn't even wipe his bum properly. You're not gonna
I don't think
get
it's to mock
any,
him.
huh?
So I don't
No,
think it's to
I'm
mock
trying
him.
to
Okay.
make you understand context that you're not going to get any honor back for your Muslim people by begging him.
But it makes you feel good though, right? Like
Huh?
I remember, like
What,
back
protesting?
in 2013 when I was even in Jahiliyyah, I wasn't practicing. There was a march for Palestine.
Okay.
Me and my boys went. We were
Again, shall I say
free
something?
Palestine.
One second, this is important, yeah?
We came
Ag-
off a bus. There
one
was a bus.
second,
It was
one
parked up. We couldn't get through because of the
This
crowd.
comes back to
We
my
climbed on top
this
on the
comes back to
roof.
my initial
We went
point.
viral.
This comes back to my initial point. It's selfish. You said it makes you feel good.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So it's selfish. You only do it because it gives you some comfort.
makes me feel like I'm making a difference. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing
Okay,
something.
but
Exactly, it's
What,
just-
what difference are you making taking the people on the streets?
People
So
are finding.
everyone's
Actually, no, you know what?
missing
You're right.
Maghrib
It
and
didn't even
Isha
make the
and
news.
Huh?
Fajr.
It didn't even make the news.
It did make the news.
There was thousands of us,
Akhi,
man.
if you're
I
talking,
remember
are
we
you
were so
talking about the
vexed.
Palestine protests?
Yeah, bro.
I remember that 30,000 people came down in CNN.
Yeah,
No,
we were
the
all
whole point-
screaming.
Yeah.
And
No,
we were at the BBC building and we didn't even make the
Shall I say
headlines.
something? I think it's a big problem that people.
And then you're
yeah,
making people sit. You're free
This was
mixing
like,
and that.
by the way, this is like 2 years before I started practicing.
Yeah.
the-
Yeah, there's girls.
It's a big issue because
that boys
people
mixing
go to
everything.
protest and that, but no one's in the masjid. Like, how can you give so much importance to something which is not even legislated
But
in Islam?
the
but
issue is there's
thing
so
that
many
is-
imams. There's so many
and by
imams
the-
and
and by the-
leaders
this-
today that
this-
are saying politics is the. So I don't get it.
And the Prophet ﷺ said that there will be evil inside of the ummah, and the evil will be du'atun ala abwabi jahannam, people giving da'wah at the gates of the hellfire. Man ajabahum ilayha qadhafuhu fiha. Anyone who listens to them and obeys what these people giving da'wah, these imams are saying, is going to take them into the hellfire. So just because there's imams doing it, the Prophet ﷺ said the thing that I fear for you most is what? Munafiqun, a hypocrite who's alim bilisani, or kama qal, he's a scholar when it comes to his tongue. He talks,
eloquent.
he's eloquent with his tongue. Yujadilu bil Quran, he debates you with the Quran, but he's a munafiq. He pretends to be
Oh, no.
Muslim, but he's a munafiq. Does that make sense?
Mm.
So these people, they're taking the Muslims down a hellhole. The point I'm making is, wallahi, and this is what I'm going to mention to what you originally said and what the original discussion was, that I believe it's so empowering. Allah di qasam, wallahi, my paki comes up, wallahi, it's so empowering, yeah, to know that the problem is with you.
Because that means the
Because
solution
you
is
can
with
fix
you.
it. The issue is that we don't want to. You know why? It's because we don't want to fix ourselves. It comes back down to what you said. You just want to feel like you made a
Quick
change.
fix.
Yeah, whether you made a change or not. You just want to make a little picket sign.
Tweet, change your DP
Yeah,
to
yeah.
blue for Sudan.
Do you understand? No, and red for Kashmir. You want to feel like, I made a change. Well, I didn't do nothing. Because with that
Didn't do anything.
blue thing for Sudan, you're still creeping into girls' DMs. With that red
Still
DP
making.
for Kashmir,
Mm.
you're what? You're commenting swear words in next man's comments. Fix yourself. You don't want to fix yourself. Does that make sense? And also, it's very empowering to know, because look. Another
You wanna
issue.
make yourself believe that you're making a difference, that you're
Exactly,
doing
but
something,
you're
but
not
in
really
reality
doing
you're
it.
not.
And also,
And
it
look at that.
takes
Before
a-
you, look at that. Yeah, you want everything to change, but yourself. How on earth do you expect other things to change?
When
You
you're
don't
not
even
gonna
want to
change
change
yourself.
yourself. What?
There's
What
even a
can you
hadith about
change if
that,
you
right?
can't change
There's آية
yourself?
القرآن التي إن الله لا يغير بقوم حتى
Yeah,
يغيروا
sorry, it's
ما
ayah.
بأنفusihim.
Allah will
Ma-
not change your situation
Allah will
until you
not
change
change the
yourselves.
state of a people
Okay,
until
so
they change
final, we're
themselves.
going to end on this one, inshallah. What are the solutions? So, number one, we've already mentioned, is stop sins. Number two, obviously, with that, you do have to, like, there is, people are raising money, right? So, for example, are there any, at the moment, like, campaigns that are happening at the moment that people can donate to?
Before we do that, I want to mention
'Cause
an ayah.
he's right, we're doing it for stuff.
Yeah,
Wrapping up.
I just want to mention this ayah. It's Surah Al Imran. Allah said, this for me is the most empowering ayah, and I think it's going to trickle down from here. Allah said, قُلْ لِلَّهُمْ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ تُؤْتِ الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكَ مِمَّنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ.
SubhanAllah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah is the one. He owns the dominion. Allah owns the kingdom. This whole world, Allah owns it. He gives the kingdom to whom He wills. Allah takes it from whom He wills. Allah, He honors whom He wills. Allah humiliates whom He wills. Allah today gave Palestine to the Jews. Before 70, 80 years ago, Allah had given it to the Muslims. Before that, the Christians took it. Before that, the Muslims took it. Before that, the Jews had it. Allah, تِلْكَ
yeah.
الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. Allah said, like that, we alternate the days. Allah is in control. Allah is in control. That's the first thing. Is to know that this is all Allah's. Kashmir is not Pakistan's. Kashmir is not India's. Kashmir is not the Kashmiris. It's not for the Kashmiris. It's for Allah. And Allah, بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ. In His hand is the good. In His hand is the khair. He controls this. This is all His. And Allah is saying, it's with me. It's mine. Allah said, I will give it to you. Allah told you how. Allah said, يَعْبُدُونَنِي. Worship me alone. لَا تُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا. Do not do any shirk with me. That's the first thing.
And like the most basic of worship, or like the most fundamental, is salah. And the sad
Salah.
thing is, some people watching this probably don't even pray, or miss prayers on a regular basis.
Or they wear ta'weezes.
Yeah.
The second thing is the hadith that we mentioned, where the Prophet ﷺ clearly said,
Sallallahu alayhi wa
Allah
sallam.
will not uplift your humiliation حتى ترجعوا إلى دينكم, till you come back to your religion. So it's not just Tawheed, but come back to the whole religion. Primarily Tawheed, primarily La ilaha illallah. But now people will say, whose understanding of the religion? The Barelvi's understanding of the religion? The Shi'i's understanding of the religion? The Ikhwani's understanding of the religion? The HT understanding of the religion? The ISIS understanding of the religion? Who's understanding the religion? The Prophet mentioned in another hadith narrated by Mu'adh ibn Jabal in Imam al-Tabarani's Musnad, where the Prophet ﷺ said, حَتَّى تَرْجِعُ إِلَىٰ أَمْرِكُمُ الْأَوَّلِ. Allah will not change your situation and bring you khair until you come back to your original religion. Awwal. Who's awwal? Allah used that word again in Surah At-Tawbah to describe the Sahaba. السابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. Allah mentioned two groups of people. الأولون, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. the ones who are at the first, and Allah mentioned the Muhajir and Ansar, and the ones who follow the companions. Allah said these are the only people who are going to make it to Jannah. So then when the Prophet said you have to return back to your amrikumul awwal, your original, your awwal religion, the beginning religion, Sahaba's religion, awwal is explained in Surah At-Tawbah, meaning the Sahaba. In other words, who are the Sahaba? The Salaf.
The companions.
The Salaf, yeah. The companions, the Salaf. When you look at the word Salaf, what does it mean in the dictionary? Mutaqaddim. It means the one who came before. It means as-sabiq, the one who came before, which is the same word Allah used in the ayah, by the way. As-sabiqun, al-awwalun. Al-awwalun. The beginning ones. Does that make sense?
So the point is, so the first one is, the first solution is stop your sins, start worshipping Allah, go back to the
Stop
religion.
Shirk. We have to really say shirk, because shirk is not
Stop
just
shirk, stop innovation, stop bid'ah, stop sins, stop everything
and when
that
you
you
come
can.
to the religion, come according to the understanding of the Salaf, the understanding of the Sahaba.
Yes,
Because the Prophet
correct
specified
understanding.
that. He said, Amrikumul awwal.
So that's the first solution. Now, obviously, another solution would be try and help out as much as you can.
Of course.
By number one, I would say still do raise awareness. Tell people around about it. The more people you know, that then they can hopefully fix themselves as well.
Yeah.
Because then, you know, tell them what the solution is. Also, everyone goes around. It's like a ripple effect. One person finds out, tells it, like it's going to multiply. Everyone's going to start fixing up, and that's the way the solution will come.
Yeah.
So number one, fix up yourself. Number two, spread the word. Number three,
I
donate.
said before that, make dua.
Make dua.
That's my whole point, is that if Allah owns it, and Allah said it's my dominion, I give to whom I will, ask Him. Like, that's the whole point, is when you're protesting, what is a protest? You're asking a kafir to give you something. You're saying, intervene.
He doesn't even own.
Huh?
That he doesn't even own.
Yeah, he doesn't even own.
Doesn't even have charge.
I'm saying, ask Allah. And then, of course, no doubt, donations, charity.
Any reputable charities or
Yeah, inshallah, we're doing a Kashmir fundraiser with Crisis Aid, who for us, as far as we're concerned, is one of the most trustworthy charities out there. If they want to donate, they can donate at the link below.
So the link's in the below, inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala.
Anyone want to add any final words or just okay, cool. We'll wrap it up there, inshallah. Look out for the next episode. As always, remember you can download it and listen to it on the podcast app, as well as on YouTube. And if you're on Android, I don't even know, bro. Android's irrelevant. SoundCloud apparently, yeah. But wait, is that nationalism? That's not, is it? But you could feel proud in it that you own Apple and people are Samsung. But yeah, we'll leave it there, inshallah. Until the next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.